Yep, we are starting soon, so I hope that answers your question right there. Anyway, this is cycle 6 of Gold Division? Yeah, something like that. It's confusing. We're done with cycle 7, so this isn't cycle 7, this is cycle 6. I'm just way behind. And I'm also, for some reason, double covering stuff because, yeah, Zoe and Shorecan already actually casted this game, but I'm going to redo it because it's A, not in his past broadcasts, so those of you who didn't catch it live won't be able to watch the replay, and also because it's not on YouTube, similarly, so there is no VOD of it available at this point, unfortunately, and I feel like we should rectify that situation, so let's go for it. And also because, you know, when it was casted live, there were other matches going on, and likely most of you are watching HoN cast, so if you have any interest in Gold Division whatsoever, you likely have a similar, if not greater, interest in Diamond Division of HoN Tour. So my guess is there are some of you out there that wanted to see this and were not able to due to other games going on at the same time, and therefore here we are, providing double coverage, but I think for at least a somewhat justifiable reason. Even though I have a whole lot of other stuff to cover because I'm barely even making a dent in Cycle 7. But anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about a game, man, because we're halfway through the drafting phase already, which is good. Legion going to take out Kraken and Cthulhuphant, so some strength initiators removed here by the Night Raid boys, and Hellborn going to ban out Parasite and Swiftblade. So, of course, you might recognize both of these teams. This is a loser back at round 4 of Gold Division, which means at this point we do have some higher tier teams and teams that belong in Diamond. As you will notice, Night Raid is a former Diamond Division team, and were demoted for Gold Division, I believe, last cycle. We're not able to make it back for Cycle 7, and we'll see if they can make it for Cycle 8. It really would be unfortunate for a team that actually had some pretty decent Diamond Division success to finish out Season 3 in this manner. And you see the names on there: King Plato, Cookies, Nightmares, even Saint Rock's ringing for them in this series, and actually in the previous series as well, I believe. So definitely not bereft of talent. Hellborn side, similar situation, and it's going to be nice and confusing here because we have Cookies on the Legion side and Cookies on the Hellborn side. The Hellborn's Cookies, I believe, is Swedish. The Legion's Cookies is American, so I'm going to be saying Cookies a lot in this game is my assumption. But lots of good talent there as well. Pingu leading their way, of course. He is their carry player. The Forgotten One, former WAP-Dash member, as well as Pingu. Q Zane has been on this RmR team, and I believe his brother is Boz, who apparently is not here for this series, but can be replaced by Staff, also known as Bunny General, also known as Deep XD, a former member of Shrek is Love for actually quite a while. So both sides with some recognizable names and some talent that we should be expecting will perform at a high level. And the heroes that will be benefiting from that talent, on the Legion side at least so far, are Aluna, Tempest, and Rally. Hellborn going to start things out with Magnus, Bubbles, and Ophelia. So already I'm not a huge fan of the Legion draft. Rally I'm sort of having to change my opinion on because his numbers are getting much better. He was terrible in CIC and has so far been significantly better in HoN Tour Season 3. He's up closer to 65% win rate. So hey, people are using him effectively. I still think he's a bit of a niche hero, and he doesn't get picked off very often, at least not often enough to indicate that he has a ton of utility, but certainly teams seem to be finding the right opportunities to use Rally effectively, and he's winning games, so definitely can't consider him a trash tier hero anymore, I suppose. Aluna, I definitely can consider a trash tier hero. I believe she has the 3rd lowest win rate of any hero that's been played more than 10 times, and the only 2 heroes below her have been played like 10 times, so not a huge fan of that hero. Very strong in the laning phase. After that, she's awful, which means that this hero is useful for about 10 minutes out of a game that lasts at least 15. And to first pick her seems absolutely insane to me. I mean, you first pick her over Magnus? Really? With Kraken ban? That's just horrible. Unbelievably terrible decision, I feel like, from King Plato. So I don't know, maybe it'll work out, and I've made some really stupid calls before when it comes to this is a bad hero to pick and I don't like this and blah blah blah, but I really don't like that, especially as a first pick. If you're going to pick a Luna, fine. If you will like a Luna, fine, but she really doesn't need to be first pick. There's almost no justification for that I can see. There's much better first pick heroes in general, and in this game specifically. On the Legion side alone, I would say Silhouette and Tempest are better first pick heroes. On the Hellborn, I'd say Magnus, Bubbles, and probably Glacius are all better first pick heroes. Ophelia is a little iffy right now, I think, but there are also a number of heroes left on the board that could be viable first pick heroes. A few decent supports. There's Puppet Master, etc. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to me why you would go for an Aluna pick that early, but oh well, we'll see how it goes. They do have a pretty good amount of team fight right here between the Tempest, Ultimate, and the Rally, but mostly it's about mobility and initiation potential. Presumably Tempest will be getting a portal key. We have long-range snipes from Aluna, long-range snipes from Pharaoh, so some good global presence between those two heroes. Portal key likely on Rally and Silhouette as well, and of course Pharaoh has that hook, so these are heroes that can contribute to a fight while not necessarily being particularly close to it, either by getting up in there or by sending long-range abilities further down the map. So there's at least some consistency there. Yes, and Shorcan is enumerating the player that is missing from the guys on RmR. And I believe Staff is just a rotation ringer type of member, so I wouldn't expect to see him with this team for a great length of time. I think he's just kind of hanging out, doing some stuff while he's perhaps looking for a new team, perhaps quitting HoN, who knows. Anyway, the Ravener is going to be the last pick for the Hellborn team, and it's actually going to go to Q Zane here, who is usually their suicide player and presumably be playing the mid. No, sorry, Cookie's their suicide player. I believe Boz is typically their mid. No. Q-Zane's their mid. I think Boz is their secondary support. Yeah. And that's why it's weird, because Q-Zane is not usually their mid player, I'm pretty sure. But it looks like that's going to be the case here, and Pingu going to be playing a Bubbles. Normally Pingu occupies the hard carry role. In this situation, it wouldn't be surprising to see him go to the top lane and play that one solo, which is a little bit of a waste, I feel like. It's not like the Legion side have a particularly strong suicide options here in Rally or Pharaoh. And my assumption is that Rally is going to be the suicide, considering it's Cookies playing it. Nightmares is usually their support player as well. Echo X apparently ringing for this series, along with Saint Rocks. So he's playing a hard support role here, and it looks like Nightmare is going to possibly be occupying the mid. The other option is that he goes suicide and Cookies goes mid, but that would require multiple people to change their preferred roles. I believe Cookies is typically their suicide player, so it's curious. There's definitely lots of possibilities. Actually, both lineups, I mean, they both do have suicide heroes. There's really 4 suicide potential heroes in this game, and we'll see who goes for what role, but my assumption is that Pingu is not going to be playing the suicide. In fact, it looks like he's heading mid. Yeah, so it's going to be a suicide Magnus right here, as you see him rotating body. He's going to drop Vorticide as well. And it looks like that was placed just before this one, so 335, 325. So yeah, 20 seconds before. So he should be aware that there is a lane award here from Cookies on at least the Suicide Magnus should be. And then it appears Pingu will be sent to the middle, and in the top lane we're going to have a short lane Ravenor with a Glacius helping him out. And Ravenor is actually a hero that got a pretty good amount of buffs in Cycle 7, but this is Cycle 6. So at this point I would consider him a trash tier hero. He got his first win a couple of cycles ago, but he is, I believe, the lowest win rate hero in HoN Tour Season 3 right now, with at least 10 games played. So both teams trying to go for some heroes that really haven't had much success in Diamond Division. That doesn't mean they won't succeed in Gold, because it's a different level of play, so different heroes can exploit those weaknesses. And Ravenor definitely a TMM star hero, especially with the changes he got with the new patch. And it's possible the Q-Zane, really good Ravenor player. I don't know. Pharaoh definitely going to have some trouble up here, and it will be, in fact, the Suicide Pharaoh, which is fine. Going to get frozen and continuously auto-attacked by Glacius. He's actually going to have to be forced to take a health pot here, is my assumption. As he's got, no, going to go for the trees. He's got 3 trees and 1 health potion as far as the regen goes. And my guess is he pooled somebody else, because that's not enough farm. That's, I mean, 225 shield plus 190 gold worth of regen is something like 415 gold, so I guess he must have pooled something. Anyway, there's a ball of lightning on top of him as well, and he's gonna die. Yeah. So Bloodlust going to Q-Zane right there, and that's also not what you want to do. Ravenor, a very snowball-oriented hero. That's often why you see him play in the middle lane, is because the carry Ravenor creates a number of problems. He just doesn't carry particularly hard. and if you shut him down at all early, you can pretty quickly lose a game. So you see pretty commonly people running a mid lane Ravener, trying to use him as an initiator, because he does have a decent initiation once he gets the portal key, ball lightning, and he'll be able to put out a good amount of damage. Just not really a hero you want to rely on for your late game presence, and well, Hellborn will mostly be doing that in this game, but that's the kind of start you want to have if you're going to have Ravener as your late game carry, especially because once he gets going, he can be very difficult to stop, especially in the early game. Bottom lane is Silhouette versus Magnus, and we have Saint Rox in the jungle as well. Support's going to rotate top. It looks like Aluna going to hang out with Glacius here. Power Throw is available, will get the snipe on the Forgotten One, so it's a 1-for-1 hero kill scoreboard right now. And Hellborn still ahead thanks to their Bloodlust and the fact that they killed a core, and the Legion killed the support, but still good to get a response. And we're going to see a dual lane in this top lane, actually, which is a little bit awkward for me. Pharaoh and Aluna, not particularly synergistic. I guess it's nice that Pharaoh Mummy Walls can potentially trap somebody for a power throw that you cannot possibly miss, and then maybe the stun can set up the Mummy Walls in the first place. So, I mean, it's possible there's something there. I just don't really see it. I don't feel like Pharaoh's a particularly good dual laner, except in certain setups. Rhapsody, very good, because the dance floor will force people to stay in place, and it can be helpful. Actually, top lane, Pharaoh could be in more trouble. Minotaur Stomp is there. Glacier's going to come in with Freeze. Ball Lightning is there as well. The stun goes through, but it's not going to matter. Hussein picks up a second kill on a Nightmare, so the rotation of Aluna is matched by the rotation from Staff on that Ophelia, and I like that move. Obviously, this is now a pseudo tri-lane for the Hellborn team, and actually it always has been. It's the first time we're seeing the rotation from Ophelia, and he's not doing too well in terms of GPM on this Oph, just below 300 or 200, but that's more or less typical from jungle Ophelias nowadays. It just doesn't lend itself to a particularly good farming role. You tend to want to be a little bit more mobile, a little bit more gank-oriented, because that's where you're going to have an impact. You're not going to do too much if you just can't hang out in the jungle and try to free farm and take your, massive GPM build-up and do something. Not really what you're built for, so we'll see how he continues to progress, but I expect to see something like a 230, 240 GPM mark on him by the 8-minute mark or so. Middle lane, Bubbles versus Rally. I feel like this is a situation that Bubbles should probably win. Going to go to the bottom lane and try to control the rune, it looks like, but it's already being controlled by Saint Rox on this Tempest, who grabs an Invis. Still level 4, so no access to his ultimate means they're probably not going to get a kill on Cookies down here, but he's actually already pretty low, and Tempest has a stun available, so it's possible that if Cookies plays a little too aggressive, he will in fact be killed. On the other hand, this Word of Sight spotted the Invis rune in the bottom lane, and that will allow them to be well aware that he should not play forward. Speaking of junglers, Saint Rox currently going for 230 GPM, 240 GPM, and it's not bad at 4.5 minutes. You usually want your Tempest to be somewhere on the 280 to 300 GPM mark. That's not necessarily something that's going to happen right off the bat, though, so we'll give him a little bit more time before we expect more out of Saint Rox. And really not too much else he can do in terms of ganking either. I mean, ganking a Magnus and a Bubbles is very, very difficult in general, especially when you have a stun that's oriented the way Tempest's is, because Magnus can Steam Bath and avoid the Glacial Blasts, and Bubbles can either take cover or Shell Surf away, and if he can get out of vision, then he won't take further stuns, because of course you need vision for the Glacial Blast to hit you. Ball Lightning will go in the top lane. That's going to hit both of them, actually, and Aluna's going to fall here, so the pounding continues from this Ravener Glacius lane. It's actually doing a lot of work in Hussein at nearly 450 gold per minute, and it's a mark that he's sustaining fairly well, especially for the early going. We'll finish up Steam Boots right here as he just gets the gold for it. You get the Blood Chalice as well, and he's not going to have any mana problems, especially because he's got a health potion left. So all of a sudden that snowball we were talking about from Ravener may be close to fruition for this Hellborn team, and Night Raid may be feeling the brunt of his aggression relatively soon. They do have a much more late-game oriented team, in my opinion, with the Tempest and the Silhouette. Those are two heroes that you can get quite valuable as the game progresses. Tempest, just the threat of Tempest can cause teams to pick up, make draft picks specifically to counter the late-game potential of that hero, because you can literally lose games, of course, with a giant Tempest hole. And they're going to have to address Saint Rox a little bit on that hero if they want to take it late or win early, because you can have an impact in both phases of the game, whether by pushing or by ulting stuff. Anyway, we're also going to go through there, and Silhouette's going to die. So once again, the rotation from staff on that Ophelia is proving crucial, as we expected, somewhere on the 230 to 240 GPM mark now with 2 assists. And shutting down King Plato also very effective. Cookies in this bottom lane was actually getting shut down pretty hard. You see King Plato at 37 CS right now, second highest in the game, even despite the fact that he's been dead for the last several seconds, and Ravener just barely ahead of him. You compare that to Magnus at 12 now, but their GPMs are much closer than they used to be, thanks to that gank. Well set up by Magnus, and well executed with the Skeleton King as well. So RmR looking to be firing on all cylinders here. At this point, the only lane that they're really doing poorly in is the mid, where Pingu's about 15 GPM behind this rally. And considering the rune control that Bubbles should have over Rally, even with the Compel Stun available, I feel like Pingu should be doing better. On the other hand, of course, Rally, difficult to harass into the lane. He is reasonably tanky early on. He's got over 1,000 health right now. He's actually going to jump on top of Bubbles, and there's the Seismic Slam. Bubbles will be able to Shell Surf away, and that's why I figured he wouldn't be able to kill the Bubs, because even with a nice combo, Bubbles is still able to survive. At level 2, and Demoralizing Roar would not have gotten that kill either, by the way, so the fact that he's going for the 4-1-1 build doesn't make a difference. Top lane, they're going to get Aluna once again, so let's go back and watch that. Initiation from the beginning. There's a Ward of Sight here, but it doesn't even matter. Oh, the Skeleton King's from Ophelia taking a really nice path into the ball lightning, and somehow Q-Zane did not get hit by those mummy walls and get pushed away. I'm very surprised. I don't think it would have mattered, but I think you do have to fault the Legion side a little bit, because the Ward of Sight right here should have spotted the rotations from the Skeleton Kings. And another Ward of Sight should have given them plenty of information as to where the Hellborn team was and where they were setting up. So I'm not really sure how they missed the angle on that gank, but they really shouldn't have. Glacius gonna get the Thunder Blast off once again, looking for their freeze, will find it, the ball lightning's there. So this is gonna be yet another kill onto Nightmares, and I just don't know what they're seeing. Middle lane, Bubbles gonna be a little trouble. She gets Tempest Hold right there, and that's gonna be a kill for Nightright. So they finally get themselves back on the board after 6 hero kills from the Hellborn team. Not all in a row, of course, but they're still definitely at a deficit. Not only in that department, but in golden experience as well. Bottom lane Silhouette actually taking a pretty good amount of harass from this Magnus, who stuns in on her. And can sip some bottle charges now that he's got that. Yet another one. Is he going to get this kill? Wow. I mean, that's a level 4 Lava Surge, so it does 280 magic damage, and she has 740 health. 2 Lava Surges, and she's at, a couple hundred health pretty quickly, so wow, I don't know how you make that mistake on King Plato's side, but you really can't, and Nightright is just looking terrible as this game is starting. I mean, we're under 10 minutes in, a 3,500 gold lead and 2,500 experience lead for the guys on RmR is not insubstantial. Something they definitely have to be concerned about, and even the fact that Pingu's not having a great start just isn't going to matter. We have 500 plus GPM on Q-Zane on the Ravener. In the bottom lane, King Plato and Cookies are actually tied. And considering the laning situation and how this should go, that's definitely a 1 lane for Cookies. I mean, that just shouldn't happen. And the rotations from St. Rocks, I think, are part of the problem. Maybe it is difficult for him to gank Magnus or Bubbles, but at the same time, he hasn't made too many attempts to do so. Veiled Rot on Tempest going to come through. Obviously, has no ult available, but he does have the Glacial Blast. And actually, once again, King Plato keeps dying here. Glacial Blast will not go through, actually, from Tempest, because the Steam Bath goes off, and Magnus maybe should have even waited for them to get used once, and then Steam Bath the second tick. Middle lane at the same time. Keltfield actually goes down, and the Forgotten One will pick up yet another kill with a Thunder Blast this time, so people dying all over the place on Nightright's side, and this is just falling out of control very quickly. Bottom lane, Tempest and Magnus going at it. Magnus out of mana, so he can't Lava Surge back in for another kill, but hey, I still think he's very much done his job in this bottom lane. 300 GPM on Cookies. He is, in fact, the second highest farmer in the game. Well behind the Ravener, of course, but that's a Suicide Suicide Magnus in a 1 versus 1 matchup against a Silhouette that she should win. I mean, Volcanic Touch is one thing, but she should be out of range for most of those, and she should be not continuously dying to Lava Surges. That's just not something that should happen, so I don't know what's going on with RmR right now, but it's not a good thing, and with Nightright right now, and it's not a good thing, and Ride My Rocket's definitely taking advantage, and they're playing quite well, of course. They're using this Ravener to its fullest extent, more or less. This Ravener Glacius lane has been fantastic, and the Forgotten One, of course, one of the best support players in the scene right now. notable for his Glacius play. I do think that is his best hero. It's one we've seen him on a lot. Once again, going to be the stun onto Silhouette, into the freeze. The Thunder Blast is going to be available as well, and they're going to get another kill onto Cookies. Or, sorry, King Play. There's already 2 people named Cookies in this game, so if I just call somebody Cookies, there's a 1 in 5 chance I'll be right. And middle lane, Bubble's going to take some harass from the Rally, but who really cares? Meanwhile, here comes Ophelia, so there's going to be the counter. Compel used by Rally at exactly the wrong time. Skeleton King Nets will be coming in continuously. The silence is there as well, and Rally cannot get out of there, so that is Cookies dying. And it's 11-2 in favor of RmR. Night Raid just not putting up a challenge in this game. And the Hellborn team is absolutely taking advantage of a very advantageous position. We have a level 11 Magnus. Top level in the game, highest experience per minute by quite a large margin. And he's going to jump in once again. Lava Surge has been used, but Tempest looking for a stun, can't find it. Magnus has Steam Boots, Tempest has Red Boots, and in fact Tempest could be in trouble as the Skeleton King army comes in here. We're going to need a stun from one. There's one net. And the Tempest Hole going to lock 2 down. In fact, they might get some counter kills out of this. Silhouette's going to at least get to one onto Magnus. No. Rat the Pharaoh, and they do kill Saint Rocks. Finally, Cookies goes down. Looks like Silhouette going to avoid the Shell Surf. Well done, but the Kelpfield still finished him off as Staff also dies. Thunder Blast onto 2. There's the freeze and the Glacial Downpour. Rally getting silenced out as well, so he cannot compel away. It's on cooldown for a couple more seconds anyway. He's going to try to get away from here. The Power Throw goes through, and this might be enough to back off the Bubbles. Shell Surf does not connect. Bubbles does not want to go back in there because even with the Haste Rune, it's potential for him to get locked down, especially with the Mummy Walls available. So, in the end, it's a 2-for-2 trade, and I would say that goes in favor of the Legion side, as they are quite far down at this point, and trading when you're down is usually what you want to do. But nonetheless, this is not going particularly well for Night Raid, and they have to be a little worried about how this series is going to go if this is the way they're going to perform 13 minutes into Game 1. It's not what you want to be looking like. Pingu, in the meantime, has managed to recover quite nicely, 310 gold per minute in this middle lane. So he's going to have a pretty solid impact right here. Should have his portal key up in a couple of minutes. And that'll, of course, continue to make work right here. Magnus has more or less the same timing, and that's, again, especially impressive considering he's a Suicide Magnus. We have wards all over the place, and obviously the Hellborn going quite aggressive right here. We have one deep in the Legion Woods. No real reason to protect their own jungle, as there's very little chance that the guys on Night Raid can effectively gank them on their side of the map. And with as soon as PKs are going to start to come out, and as aggressive as they've been in the Legion Woods and in the bottom lane and stuff like that, I really like the warding situation here from the Forgotten One. He wants to make sure that they control the bottom half of this map, and they're very much going to, and quite easily as well. By the way, King Plato forced into the jungle. He can no longer lane against that Magnus, so he's trying to recover somewhat in the middle of the woods. He's got Ghost Marchers, but hasn't even started to build a Nullstone quite yet, and that's obviously going to be a bit of a problem. And you look at the Hellborn team, realistically they have about 3 consistent targeted spells. The Glacius Freeze and Ophelia's 2 spells. Now, she will potentially have other stuff like Skeleton King Nets, but Nullstone's probably not going to be all that effective as a defensive item this game. Obviously, Silhouette probably still going to get it just for the regen and additional health and stats that it gives you. So it's an item that's definitely useful beyond just, you know, I'm going to cancel a spell effect. But Word of Rift, it does. Okay. I was going to say, if that doesn't hit that Word of Sight, I'd be shocked. But anyway, nice counter word there from the Forgotten One. And in fact, Cookie's going to find Rally in the middle of the jungle right here. We'll see if they try to go on each other. There's a word of Rev there from the Legion side, so Steam Bath not doing too much. Ravana looking for initiation, finds the portal key and the ball lightning, and now Rally is completely screwed. Lava Surge will help finish him off, and it is Q-Zane that picks up yet another kill. 4-0 and 2, 515 gold per minute. And yeah, I'll agree, their draft was a little bit weird. Like I said before, the first pick of Luna was quite strange. But to be honest, I would take more of an issue with the order in which they drafted their heroes and their draft itself. I feel like their draft's actually pretty okay. Tempest isn't really a hero that wants to be a primary initiator, so having Rally and Pharaoh on top of that is very helpful. They have a good amount of lockdown, they have a number of stuns, especially for Silhouette, as they will be able to catch out Luna right there once again and get another kill, so 15-4 hero kill advantage for the Hellborn team, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised to see a CC vote. In fact, I'd say I'm a little surprised I haven't seen one already. As we're 16 minutes into this game, and Knight Raid are just getting stomped. But anyway, oh, Silhouette getting caught out here by Ophelia, and Magnus not going to be able to quite get a Lava Surge available. Will be able to finish off King Plato. Rally perhaps looking for a counter, but I don't think they have enough team support there, especially when you compare it to what the Hellborn can bring to that fight. So it would have been a 4 versus 2, and my guess is Rally's initiation would have been met with extreme prejudice by the Hellborn team. Is that the real cookies? Yes, that's the real cookies. Anyway, so yeah, the draft, it's not so much about the heroes they picked and more about the order in which they picked them. For example, if they had gone Tempest into Silhouette into Rally and then finished it off with Pharaoh and Aluna, that would have been a perfectly normal draft order, and they would have ended up with the same 5 heroes, and it's a solid lineup. I don't really have too many issues with their draft, to be honest. They just didn't play very well. Like, in the top lane, Pharaoh against Ravener and Glacius was bad, and there's the Eruption right onto Rally's face. He's actually going to counter with the Wrath of Pharaoh, but the Glacial Downpour is doing so much damage, not going to be stopped. Pharaoh's going to fall as Pingu puts him double tap, as King Plato trying to run away here, gets the stun into Magnus, and he's actually out of mana, so they won't really want to go in and initiate on this further. Tempest Ultimate is also available, so if they had tried to get more aggressive, they probably would have been paying for it. And actually, Tempest might look for something here onto Magnus, who's again out of mana. Magnus now all of a sudden, oh, he's going to take the heal from Silhouette, or sorry, Glacius. Ophelia, it's not going to matter as Cookies dies to the power throw. One of them heroes has a heal. God damn it. Being Glacius, he is out of mana, and looking for something onto this Tempest. They're going to get 2-man Tempest, although Ravener's going to finish off Aluna in the background. There's just no damage follow-up to that Tempest ultimate, so it wasn't badly placed. And it actually caught a number of heroes, obviously full duration as well. There's just absolutely nothing for them to do on top of it, so Saint Rocks takes the death as well. We have 4 heroes grouped up here in the middle lane. Actually, Pingu's going to retreat a little bit, pick up his portal key, which he's actually had for some time now that I realize that he has 17 and 150 gold, but... yeah, Ravener now stealing Ancients, and he's got a Light Brand on top of his Abyssal Skull and Blood Chalice. So again, the problem with this hero, he has to snowball. The advantage of this hero, if he snowballs, he's really hard to shut down. And we're getting to the point now where he's really hard to shut down. The Portal Key build's also quite interesting. Usually you don't see that sort of thing on a really carry-oriented Ravener, but I think they figured, we're winning so hard it doesn't matter. They're going to land the Ball Lightning right here on Ravener. They're trying to bait out the Compel, and Rally will have it available, but he's going to have to use it pretty soon. No, Wrath of Pharaoh are going to help stop that. And they're going to put the Normals down here too, but I don't know if they actually have the damage to finish off Rav. Yeah, they really just don't. As Saint Rocks is probably trying to come in and do something, but he's also got a Haste Rune active, so that's not helping. And Q-Zane distracts 3 heroes, doesn't get a kill out of it. Actually, Bubbles looking for the jump. Shellsurf and Kelpfield both going to miss, and actually now he's in some trouble. He's going to get the Glacial Blast on top of him, gets the Silence, but not before the Hellfire, and actually Echo X with the Power Throw will finish off that kill. So Pingu getting a little bit over-aggressive, but probably not the worst thing. Oh god, the Eruption right in the face of King Plato. And Cookies has been King Plato's worst enemy this game. Cookies with 7 kills, King Plato with 7 deaths. Those are not all, you know, Cookies versus Plato, but a fair number of them are. And yeah, I think, I mean, honestly, it's fine to do whatever you want at this point, just because they are winning so damn hard. Glacius and Tempest going to find each other here in the Hellborn Woods, but yeah, there's a Glacius Freeze, just going to be able to walk on out of this. Ophelia's actually come in for some backup as well with the Astrolabe. And they will be able to finish off the Tempest minions, which is, again, a fair degree of gold. You don't really want to give these up for absolutely nothing if you can avoid it, because that's 35 gold or so times 6, which is, you know, about a hero kill. And early on hero kill Rally, gonna use the Compel, but, you know, there's portal keys all over the place in this Hellborn team. They've got 3 of them. That's actually another reason why the PKs are good, or the early PK is fine on Ravener, is you also have an early PK on Bubbles and Magnus, which means, you know, the 3 of them can initiate from long range, which is very helpful, of course. The more portal keys you get, the more valuable each one of them is. Meantime, Ophelia and Bubbles going to start to work on Kongor right here, and they're not taking it particularly quickly, but this is only 2 heroes committed to a Kongor kill, so it's fine if it takes them a minute or so. Because Ravener is continuing to form up in the meantime, he's got 600 plus GPM, and that's more or less the territory in which players just don't lose games. The only 600 GPM lost out of 71 games in Diamond Division is a 601 GPM game. That included a 653 GPM hero on the other team, so, you know, somebody had to lose in that game. Some 600 GPM hero had to lose that game, and it was the 601 GPM hero. Other than that, they have 70 wins. So, just saying, at this point, if you're Knight Raid, obviously they don't have access to that information, but you're getting into the territory where games are more or less unwinnable. And now you're going to put a token of life on that hero as well. We're going to see a finished Dawnbringer here in under 25 minutes. Under 20, yeah, so 21 minutes. We've got a Dawnbringer, a Portal Key, and a Vessel Skull and Ravener. And yeah, that's I don't know what you do against that if you're Night Raid, because it seems they don't have anything. Their top farmer is the Syl at 240 GPM. She has Ghost Marchers and an Energizer. Pharaoh right now has a Ringmail. Presumably he's working on a Barbed Armor. They're going to deep jump here onto Rally. He's not going to die quite yet. Finally gets the Compel out. And two-man Mummy Walls right there. It doesn't matter. Plato's still there. Tempest Hole going to contact on 4. But there's, again, no follow-up damage. Ashlight finished that off. And St. Rock's going to die. There goes Nightmares as well. 4 heroes down to Legion side. They're going to call it GG's here. And I think they're going to concede. Because, yeah, alright, there it is. So, I mean, to be honest, not much of a reason to continue in that game. There was very, very little chance they were going to be able to pull it out. And I think at this point, even the loser's bracket and potentially facing elimination, there's no reason to keep going. Let's just move it to game 2. We had a really, really, really bad laning phase, and don't do that again. Maybe we can win a game against the team. And you know, Night Raid, again, good team, lots of good players right there, and they just got a little bit embarrassed. So maybe they'll be able to bring it back for Game 2. Maybe they won't, and RmR will quickly advance to the Losers Bracket semifinals, but we'll have to go into Game 3 to find out. So, Night Raid down 0-1 against RmR, and we'll be right back with Game 2.